There is a war going on. It is a spiritual war, a war between truth and lies. Only one thing cuts through all lies and opinions. It is God's word. It is God's sword.
Tonight, I have it on my heart that instead of resuming the study that will continue to be interrupted through the book of Revelation, join me in Genesis chapter 32, and let's jump in mid-story. And in the process, let us consider together some of the things that I think this story has to do with you, with me, and on the larger issue of identity. Let me just read the text. Genesis chapter 32, and I love the book of Genesis. I love all of it. It's been my primary text for many years. And the traveling ministry, the opportunity I have to speak to men, Genesis, those early chapters, creation of man, creation of male and female, the fall, the promise of the hero that would come, all of that, man. I do love it. But the later chapters of Genesis, and then, get right down to it, the whole Bible, significant to us. But here in Genesis chapter 32, verse 1, it reads, "Now Jacob went on his way, and the angels of God met him. Then Jacob said when he saw them, 'This is God's camp.' So he named that place Mahanaim." It's interesting. Jacob sees something that most people don't get to see. He sees the angels of God, they meet him. This is not the first time that Jacob is seeing things, though. More about that in a minute. Verse 3 says, "And Jacob sent messengers before him to his brother Esau in the land of Seir, the country of Edom. He also commanded them, saying, 'Thus shall you say to my lord Esau,'" that's his brother, who's, born just, a minute before him, his older brother. He says, "I want you to say this to my lord." That's with a little L, Esau, to my greater. "Thus says your servant, Jacob, I have sojourned with Laban and have been delayed until now. And I have oxen and donkeys and flocks and male and female slaves. And I have sent to tell my Lord that I may find favor in your sight." Then the messengers returned to Jacob, saying, "We came to your brother Esau, and furthermore he has come to meet you, and 400 men are with him." It's not good news. Esau is a bitter man. And the last time Jacob was anywhere within range of Esau's arrows, Esau was only not killing him because their father still was alive, but was telling everybody as soon as the old man is gone, he was comforting himself. It was a comfort to him. It's a comfort just thinking about, I'm going to kill him. He won't be around much longer. I will kill him. But it can wait. It can wait. So this is the first time they'll see each other. In verse 7, "Then Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed, and he divided the people who were with him, the flocks and the herds and the camels, into 2 camps. And he said, if Esau comes to the one camp and strikes it, then the camp which remains will escape. Jacob said, O God of my father and Abraham, God of my father Abraham and God of my father Isaac, O Yahweh, who said to me, return to your land and to your kin, and I will prosper you. He wisely reminds God of promises that God made. God has spoken to Jacob. Verse 10, I am unworthy of all the loving kindness and of all the truth which you have shown to your slave, for with my staff only I crossed this Jordan, and now I have become two camps. Two camps. Deliver me, I pray, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him, lest he come and strike me down with the mothers and the children. For you said, I will surely prosper you and make your seed as the sand of the sea, which is too great to be numbered. So he spent the night there. And he took from what he had with him, that is, with him, a present for his brother Esau, 200 female goats, 20 male goats, 200 ewes, and 20 lambs. That's a significant herd. This is wealth. 30 milking camels. Now, I know enough to know that has great value. I'm repulsed at the thought of drinking camel milk. But then again, I've never tried it. But you understand what he's putting together for his brother represents a great value. 30 milking camels and their colts, 40 cows and 10 bulls, 20 female donkeys and 10 male donkeys. And he gave them into the hand of his servants, every flock by itself, and said to his servants, pass on before me, put a space between flocks. And he commanded the first one in front, saying, when my brother Esau meets you and asks you, saying, to whom do you belong? And where are you going? And to whom do these animals in front of you belong? And you shall say, these belong to your servant Jacob. It is a present sent to my lord Esau. And behold, he also is behind us. And then he commanded also the second and the third and all those who followed the flocks, saying, after this manner, you shall speak to Esau when you find him. And you shall say, behold, your servant Jacob also is behind us. For he said, I will appease his face with the present that goes before me. And then after I will see his face, perhaps he will lift up my face. Perhaps. Now, what we're reading here, I will tell you plainly that I see it different than many teachers, so check with them. But many other good teachers think that he's just trying to hustle. He's just trying to manipulate his brother. I don't see it that way. I see it as restitution that is due. I see it as a man seeking to affect someone whom he has wronged. And he knows there's no guarantee. It's a perhaps. He is trying real hard to be brave. He is afraid. He prays and says, I'm afraid. God, I'm afraid. I'm afraid. I'm so afraid. Not just for himself, but for his wives, plural. Yeah, this is a messed up situation. He's got more than one wife. He has 2 wives and 2 concubines. It's another world, another time, another culture. It is in every way less than ideal, and yet he is responsible for all of them, and he's afraid for all of them and all of the children that they have reproduced. I believe that what Jacob does here is wise. And he doesn't just sort of overwhelm Esau with one massive gift, but wave after wave. And gift after gift. Put some space between you. So he's processing the one gift and then what, another? And the words, your servant, Jacob. And his words, perhaps he will lift up my face. And verse 21 says, so the president passed on before him while he himself spent that night in the camp. And he rose that same night and took his 2 wives and his 2 servant women and his 11 children and crossed the ford of the Jabbok. Jabbok is just a little stream. I believe it dumps into the Jordan. Everything there does, in the Rift Valley. He took them and he sent them across the stream, and he sent across whatever he had. So he remains alone. Verse 24 says that then Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until the breaking of dawn. No introduction initially, the way Moses writes this, just a man. Jacob is alone until suddenly he's not. How this all got initiated, how the man approached, did he suddenly appear? Was Jacob in the darkness in this agonizing prayer wrestling with issues, and suddenly he realizes it's actual wrestle. It's actual, real, it's physical. I don't know. I wish I had that whole story, and when I get the opportunity to, I'm going into the book. When I get to heaven, I'm going to say, Lord, I want to go into the book. Show me that one. Show me how that all went down. Oh, play by play. There was a man that wrestled with him until the breaking of dawn. And he saw that he had not prevailed against him, so he touched the socket of his thigh. So the socket of Jacob's thigh was dislocated while he wrestled with him. I think about pain. I think about agonizing pain and noise. Pain and noise. And all it took was a touch. Now, you will see, as I'm going to point it out to you, he's dislocated his thigh. If your thigh is dislocated, if you get a hip socket out, and you go down, you do go down. You don't continue to wrestle upright. You're down. Get that? You are down. You got one leg. You're no longer even a biped. You're just a ped. And you're down. You got no base. You can do nothing. You can't win a wrestle match with that kind of injury. The biggest socket of all our joints popped out, and all it took was a touch. Now imagine how much worse it would have been if the man wrestling would have actually smote him. Well, that's a pretty good indication of the mercy of the man doing the wrestling. And the power, both the power and the mercy, that he could have done that at any time. He breaks out a touch. Boom! Ah! You can imagine Jacob. I've made noise in my pain. Try to make manly sounds. I remember breaking this middle finger in my childhood, and I was ashamed. And how high, it's just weird that it stood out to me, the notes that I could hit. At, I don't know, it was like 8 or 9. Oh, that break was bad, and I squealed so loud. And it actually embarrassed me, it bugged me, haunted me. From that day forward, I was committed to only roar, growl. If I get injured, I'm going to make a noise, but it won't be like that. This was like soprano. It was like opera. It was so high. It hurt so bad. And then after, I was like, man, nobody heard me but my cousin, Eric, and he didn't have the means of recording it, mercifully. Forgive me, but I have to think of my most recent severe pain was that nail in the femur. And it wasn't so much the femur that hurt. It was the flesh that was impaled, shot onto the bone, and the bone penetrated. That hurt. I got to tell you guys, listen to me. That really hurt. It hurt. As we say, wicked bad. And any movement made sounds like that come out. And it was loud. It's hard to be quiet, even the slightest little, because it hurt. And any motion was pulling, tearing the muscle. The muscle wants to pull the nail out. Oh my goodness. I Jacob is hip. Do you understand how profoundly painful that was? And every movement, like the slightest, agonizing. He's on the ground. On the ground. I can't think of this when the spike was through my quad. And at St. Joseph, they wanted me to roll over and not do this. For x-rays. Have I made my point on this? I'm like, and I don't know, maybe I am dramatic. And I am loud. But it hurt really bad. There was another occasion, long ago, about 20 or more years ago, with my family, who disowned me, denied me before men. My own daughter, my own stepson. They didn't know. I dove in the Pacific Ocean. I swam out. I'm out there where the big waves are. And next thing I know, I'm up there with these surfers, and they were all mad at me for being there, and they were cussing me out. And I'll turn around, swim back. And I swim back, and I'm thinking, I can touch here. And I go to put my foot down. I put it right on top of a stingray. He didn't like it. And that stingray jugged my ankle. Oh, that stinger, I can still feel it. And my right foot, right in my Achilles. Now, that was unpleasant, the sting, but it was the venom that went into doing its thing, attacking the nerve, and I was roaring. Was I not roaring, daughter? She was embarrassed. I embarrassed her. I'm bleeding. He punctured a vein. I'm like bleeding. I'm dragging myself up on the sand. They went away. They blended into the crowd. I am not joking. I'm not. God is my witness. They just kind of backed up, and the unattractive real-life Baywatch crew, they come to pick up my carcass and throw it on the tailgate and drive me off. They didn't even say anything to me. But they testified that they did have to go looking for me, but they just followed the sound of my very loud voice coming out of the inside of the lifeguard station. They just honed in on where I was. Oh, the agony. Oh, the pain. Then back to the spike. Oh, any movement, even the littlest movement. Ah! And that is, I'm telling you, Jacob, the thing is out. I mean, he's been tangling all night long. This is going on and on. And it says here that the man who wrestled with him only had to touch it. Just think about that. Just a touch. Not even smiting him. He didn't give him a blow. He gave him a touch. One touch. Pow. I picture Jacob's eyes bugging out in the darkness as he fell. But he did not let go of his opponent. He is down. You cannot stand with your dislocated hip. He is down. You guys, you with me on this? Mm-hmm. So you remember that sermon about Moses, all those going through the Exodus, face prints in the sand? Okay, now there's a new chapter. This one here is skid marks in the sand. Because I do have a mental picture of the man who wrestled with him. Just going, I'm leaving. Well, look at you. Just dragging him. And Jacob is, I am sure of it, he is in agony. And he is still hanging on. And I believe the man who wrestled with him is blessed by it, impressed with it, and knew that Jacob would do that. Because you know why? Because Jacob, just like every single one of you, just like me, is the workmanship of the one who's wrestling with him. He made him. And he made him unique. Now, can I remind you of all that is written before? Let me just remind you of the summary of everything that brings us up to this moment. He is the grandson of Abraham. God made great promises to Abraham. He is Abraham's grandson. He knows that his family is special. They're also quite wealthy. God has blessed them. They're herdsmen. They tend flocks. They're shepherds. They live in tents. Something about not building a house because they're sojourners. It's a good life, a good lifestyle. When he was born, well, leading up to the birth, it was so tumultuous that his mother, Rebecca, has this war going on inside of her first pregnancy, and it's weird enough that she has to inquire of God, what is going on? And she gets spoken to by God, who tells her, there are two nations, two people groups inside you. There's war. But ultimately, the older will serve the younger. Okay, you know that, right? So she's kind of interested about who's the older and who's the younger. And then finally it comes to that occasion where she gives agonizing birth. And the first one that comes out is the older. And she knows what God told her. The older will serve the younger. So she's really interested in this younger. Because he's the one that apparently God, in his foreknowledge, has a plan for, a purpose for. And he's the one that will respond to God and to the work of Yahweh. So they're born, and the first kid comes out, and you guys all know that story. He's really hairy, like a little orangutan. And that's why they named him. Not orangutan, little orangutan. They named him Harry. And but when in the birth process, they're like, what is this? They're trying to pull that little baby and assist him in the departure, and they find out he's hung up. He's got one foot hung up. And when they look, they find these little tiny knuckles just clenching white on that little hairy leg. And they go, look at this. That became, legendary. Look at this. And because of that, he was given the name, and I tell you, he was given the name, and you might say he was given the identity. Either identity was imparted by the name or identity was observed. They go, look at that little heel grabber. Look at that little wrestler. He's the kind that's going to shoot in and get a leg and get you off your feet. He's a hustler. Jacob went about living that whole story. He lived it all. And I won't give you all of that story or summarize it, but I will tell you this much. Jacob would seem he's best known for taking matters into his own hands. Hustle. Now, is that a bad thing? It can be. Now, some of you may have been told that he ripped his brother off birthright and he stole his brother's blessing. Maybe that's what they told you. He did not rip, I want to clear that up right now. He did not rip off his brother. His brother is the idiot that sold his birthright for something so very temporary. Both Old and New Testament references to his brother Harry, his brother Esau, condemn him. And the New Testament tells us, don't be like Esau, who just sold off what was so valuable, traded it off for something immediate that was so cheap. Jacob, a deal is a deal. He made a deal. He found his brother at a time and a place where he knew he'd be returning from this long hunt. And if, it was a gamble, if he came back empty, he would be hungry. So Jacob just went to cooking. It was just a porridge. Just it's like a lentil. It's like a pea soup, for goodness sake. I don't even think it had meat in it. But he also knew that his brother can only think about the here and now, ever. And so it was a gamble. He was counting on it, and sure enough, it worked. His brother came to the camp, give me of your porridge. Now, it's going to cost you. You want porridge? You hungry? Well, it's going to cost you. What is it? What do you want? I want your birthright. Your birthright. Your place is firstborn. And the double portion that goes to the older. I want your status as older. And Jacob didn't even haggle. Esau didn't haggle. He went, no problem. What good is it to me? I'm dying. What good is it to me? I'm going to die. He traded it. Well, ultimately, he's filling up a cup of wrath with Esau. And the occasion comes where his father's vision and his other senses are failing, but certainly vision is going. He's really old. And he's convinced that he could die any time, and that's how he was feeling. So he summoned Esau, and he said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do the thing the patriarch does. I'm going to pronounce the blessing. But you know what I need you to do? I need you to go out and find me some of that meat, the meat that I love. Go get it, Harry. You're the hunter. Go get me that meat I love. It's weird that the word love is used in that context. It's the first time in the whole Bible, in Genesis, being the first book, it's the first time where the word love is used for something other than a person. Meat, savory meat that I love. Now, I can relate. But it's too strong a word to use for a mere food. Hearing that, because they only live in tents, the walls aren't exactly, stone. They're just fabric. Rebecca hears that. So she goes to hustling, and it would seem that some of her Jacob's hustling might have inherited from his mother, because she seeks Jacob out and says, you're going to do this thing, you're going to go, you're going to do what I tell you. You've got to get that blessing. Blessing is real, it's tangible. The blessing, the impartation of those powerful words from a patriarch. Something so valuable that they're worth taking a chance on, risking. Even Jacob said, I can't do that. You realize I may instead invite a curse upon myself. He believes curses are real, coming from the Father. Blessings are real enough to take a gamble, and cursings are real enough to be concerned about in that gamble. Well, his mother said, look, if there is a curse, let it come upon me, because this is my idea, but you do what I tell you. I'll go make them eat. You go skin a goat. Skin a goat. That is a pretty good indication that Esau was not just like your typical hairy man. He really was a sight to see, because you could actually fool the senses of an old man who could just feel a goat skin and go, that's my son. That's my son. That's my boy. That's my boy. The blessing was pronounced. Isaac imparts this blessing to Jacob, and Isaac knows it's real. It's so real. It's so very real that even Isaac trembles, that it's so real and it's irrevocable. It went out from him and it went to Jacob. Esau knows it's real. Even Esau, carnal and short-sighted as he is, knows it's real, and he flips his lid just like a werewolf, hairy werewolf. He just starts howling, screaming, crying, trembling, tears, all of that because it's gone. The blessing, it's been taken. Have you nothing left for me? Nothing for me, Father. And his father gives him what he's got left for a blessing. So, not long after that, it's Rebecca, Jacob's mom, that says, listen, I'm hearing things. She's got good hearing. She goes, I'll tell you what else I've heard. Your brother's comforting himself with the notion that he's going to kill you. You need to leave. So she makes the case to Isaac. We do not want these sons of ours to marry these Canaanites like Harry did, because Harry did. She said, if Jacob does the same, my life is worth nothing to me. That's how bad those Canaanite women were. So she makes the argument to Isaac, send him back to where we came from, to Paran. Send him back to my brother's house. You know that whole story? It's a beautiful story. And love is there in that story. The word love appears next, and it's what Jacob has for Rachel. He saw her, and the love was so great that 7 years of labor to him was too small a price. It was too small. He's like, it seemed like a day to him. His love for her was so great. Her father is a scoundrel. Her father Laban is a wicked man. He is a wicked and irresponsible man. He's a terrible steward. In the business that he and Jacob engage in, Jacob becomes the winner at every turn, even though Laban keeps changing the deal. God continues to look out for Jacob. 7 years pass, and the honeymoon night happens, and all the celebration, and the wine, and the darkness. And Jacob reaps that which he had sown with his father. His father couldn't see, and he was taken advantage of. Jacob woke up the day after the honeymoon night, the day after consummating a marriage, and in the daylight he discovers and I really believe that he did a Kramer in the morning. I believe, now, I don't think that Leah was an ugly girl, but it's not the girl he loved. And he knew he was definitely married to her. And she was plain. It was plain old Leah, poor Leah. I think of poor Leah. I think of her laying there, waiting for that awful moment when he would wake up and discover that it's her. She was sent there by her father. So much pain in this whole story. So many people hurt. Rachel hurts. Leah hurts. Jacob, but Jacob, I'd rather think that Jacob had to go, so this is what that's like, huh? So this is what it's like for somebody to take advantage of your inability to see. I did that. I really believe that. I really believe that Jacob realized that that's exactly what he had done to his father. That's what he did to his brother. Well, you know the story. He ends up with both girls. Oh, man, he just keeps having babies. And they have a war, but they ain't no sister wives. That's a stupid term. Sister wives, my eye. They were at war with each other for the love of one man. Now, no, I'm not saying you ought to be pitying Jacob, but it was not a happy place. Every single kid that was conceived gets named based on the conflict between these two ladies. They're doing the naming. Things escalate to the point. But in all of this, one thing I got to tell you, in all of this stuff, back when Jacob first fled from Esau, Genesis chapter 28, he has God reveal himself to him. This dude whose life is so messed up, but whose family is in fact chosen, sees heaven open in a dream. He sees a stairway, a bridge or a ladder. He sees a connection. From heaven to earth, he sees angels ascending and descending. And God speaks to him from there, from heaven, makes promises to him. Messed up as this life may be, and I don't know, maybe is yours messed up? And have you complicated your life? You cannot ever, brothers, you can never be dumber than God is smart. Comfort yourself with that truth. Because we know how it is to be dumb, to make messes and complicate things. But you can write it down just like that. You are never going to be dumber than God is smart. You will not make a mess that he cannot unscramble. Or in some way or another, turn it into an omelet. He's God. He can take those scrambled things and he can turn it into something good. Like he can make a recipe out of it. He'll add a few more other things and it becomes something. What I'm trying to tell you tonight is that God was involved in this guy's story. And so things finally get so bad with this guy Laban, this scoundrel, and the years pass, and he's got to get out of there. The time comes when he finds himself in a place that you've been before, stuck between, what's the old expression, a rock and a hard place. I don't know who started that one, but whatever, you know what it means. He's got to get away from Laban, and he takes off. And Laban is behind him. Nothing good in front of him except that God made promises, those promises which Jacob reminded God that he made. Esau is in front of him. He has got to go back and get face to face with Esau. So this trap, and perhaps you've been in such a trap, hedged in. The hedge that Satan complains about in the book of Job, that is around Job and everything of Job's. The hedge it's the original barbed wire, still used. Particularly in Africa, you'll see it. Even just flying over in a bush plane, you'll see lots of compounds of the native Kenyans surrounded by a great wall of thorny dead hedge. Keep the predators out. Jacob is sort of hedged in. There's nowhere to go except right back to that danger, the danger that his hairy brother is. By the time this trap is realized by Jacob, I rather suspect that the red-haired, weird-looking brother now has gray chest hairs and whiskers. Those red hairs turn white quicker than the other colors of human pigmentation. If you could picture Esau, he's the ultimate thrill-seeking athlete, ultimate hunter, and probably strung over his nasty white furry chest a whole bunch of claws on a necklace. He's scary, just to even sort of picture him. And Jacob knows this. He's like a regular guy. He's got to go back there. And that's what we're reading about here. So when he comes to the moment, he comes to this landmark, which is the stream Jabbok. And he's arranged things the best he can, and all he can do is hope that it will have an effect upon his brother. And he prays, and he reminds God of his unworthiness. You'll never go wrong with that one. Confessing your unworthiness, which is acknowledging then the basis of your request is God's goodness. The basis of your request is God's mercy, not your merit. The psalmist does that all through the Psalms. Have mercy upon me, O God, according to thy loving kindness. He acknowledges his unworthiness. He humbles himself. He acknowledges God's goodness. You made promises to me, God, and you've kept them. I came across this Jordan, and I had nothing but the staff, nothing but my staff in my hand. And look at all that you've given me. Am I going to lose it all now? He prays. He spent the night alone in prayer, and he wrestled with God. And in his wrestling, he ends up in great agony, but he does not let go. Now, let me just bring it right down to what the point of all this is. Jacob is in agony. In the kind of agony that you cannot stand up, but he does not let go. He doesn't tap out despite this dislocation. Verse 26. Then he said, let me go, for the dawn is breaking. Let me go. That is the man that wrestles with Jacob. Happens to be God in human form. Let me go. And forgive me if I read into the story, but I know the character well enough to believe that even the character that says, let me go, says it with a chuckle. If one touch would just dislocate a hip socket, what would one slap on the head do? He could end this if he wants to, but instead he's going, let me go. Let me go. And I'm sure there was a chuckle. I believe that in the heart and the voice of the man that wrestled with Jacob was this pleasure in this little badger that is on his ankle and refuses to let go. Let me go. Let me go. The dawn is coming. But he said, I will not let you go unless you bless me. Bless me. He's after a blessing again. He was chasing a blessing from his father. He was chasing, and here he is. He's holding on to God, saying, bless me. So he said to him, what is your name? Now at this, I want you to think about that. What is your name? What is your name? You know the one asking the question. If in fact it is God, he knows the answer to the question already. Who are you? Who have you been? He is not asking. This is the same God who said, Adam, where are you? Adam, who told you you were naked? Same God. He knows. What is your name? And he said, Yaakov. As our English Bible says, Jacob. And he said, your name shall no longer be Jacob. And I have to believe that even at that moment, Jacob, in his agony, in fact, maybe even in his agony, had to laugh at the absurdity. What is my name? Well, it's funny you should ask. Heel grabber. He heel grabbed God, the heel grabber heel grabbed God. God led him. And I submit to you that God was blessed by it. That's why we know the story. He said, my name is Yaakov, heel grabber. And he said to him, your name shall no longer be Yaakov. Your name shall no longer be Jacob, but Israel. Israel. For you have striven with God and with men and have prevailed. That is the man who wrestled with Jacob all night. And if you wrestle all night with God, it's because God lets you. Jacob asked him and said, please tell me your name. But he said, why is it that you ask my name? I'll tell you why I believe he said that. Because Jacob knows his name. Why is it you ask my name? And he blessed him there. So Jacob named the place Peniel. It's the L, guys. Peniel. For I have seen God face to face, yet my life is restored. Face of God. Peniel. Face of God. That's what he named the place. Remember the last place he named was Bethel, house of God. To the question, what's your name? Jacob got his answer. That's why he knew. I have seen God. I seen him. It was God. And yet my life has been delivered. The sun arose upon him just as he crossed over Penuel, and he was limping on his thigh. I bet he was. And therefore, to this day, the sons of Israel do not eat the sinew of the hip, which is on the socket of the thigh, because he touched the socket of Jacob's thigh in the sinew of the hip. So what do you know? A tradition developed of what they don't eat, because they want to remember the story out of respect for Jacob. There's a piece of the animal we won't eat. Now, what about you? If you were to wrestle him tonight, I don't know if he wrestles with his daughters, but he does bless and he does impart names. He imparts identity. But he will wrestle with his sons. He will slap them around and be blessed by the fact that they keep coming. And they don't even know what they're doing. They're all nuts, his sons. They're all a bunch of crazy people. But he will be blessed by your perseverance. But what if he would ask you, who are you? Who are you? Who told you who you are? Who gave you a name? Who imparted identity to you? If you're like me, perhaps some of your identity, I keep fiddling with this in case you're wondering. I keep fiddling with it because we had the conference and I lent it and I had a clip that goes on and it keeps falling back down and getting stuck. Just in case you're wondering, I've not developed a tick yet. I know the band is waiting to come out here, but just hold your horses, guys. What is your name? What is your identity, and who gave it to you? Maybe you're like me, and your identity, some part of your identity, was imparted to you by the actions of your father, your earthly father. Maybe you, like me, were told that you're not worth sticking around for. You're not worth providing. There were gestures that my poor young dad did that he did not have any idea the message he was sending to me and my sisters, his daughters. He didn't know. I don't say this to put him down. But maybe I'm just saying, maybe you're like me, and maybe those gestures, maybe the abuse or the neglect, cruel words, they imparted an identity. He broke my poor mother. Him and her father, they beat her and scarred her. And she was a mess. And when I am still soaking the same mattress night after night all up to my 10th year, she had this fear that she was failing me, like she's created this messed up kid, and it doesn't make sense to her. It has to be laziness. So she thought she had to attack it. Poor girl. She didn't have any tools. She didn't have any equipment. Nobody taught her how to parent. Sometimes she's hungover, and other times she's genuinely trying to help, but she just made up a name. She made a name and called me that name with contempt and a lot of profane words on either side of it. And just rave and scream every day about her disgust with her son. So lazy, he can't get up and go to the bathroom. He'd rather lay there in it. In her mind, it was an act of will. And I was a beaten kid going, you think I like this? I hate it. And things like that, they will impart an identity. That name would play all day long. I laugh about it later. When later in my life the Lord renamed me and told me who I was, and he did that for me. When he did that, I could look back at what Mom called me. She wasn't trying to scar me, the poor girl. She was just a mess. She's so broken. And now she's like, I got this broken kid. And he's got to be lazy. And the other thing is she had a fear of me. And the more I grew physically, just in elementary school, she thought, yep, I'm going to beat her like her father did, like my father did. So she had to always threaten, always walk around, always tell me she's going to kill me. It got to be funny for me. But there's stuff that people do. You got people think messages delivered to you if you receive them. Are you what they say you were? Did people look at you and go, man, you are one pathetic loser? Did they say that of you, and did you hear that, and did you receive it? I say to you, did you have a man make promises to you, lady? All kinds of promises. Even write songs and wax eloquent. Make you believe your dream had come true and he would die for you. Then he burned you, withdrew it. Don't you believe for 1 minute what he said about you or the identity that he tried to impart, or believe that you're worthless from his actions. There's another lover that you need to listen to and lean in. And he would say to you, what is your name? You identify yourself as a woman who could not keep a man satisfied? That's not your identity, and you weren't a problem. What I'm asking you to consider tonight, if the Lord was saying to you, who do you think you are? And then let him tell you who he made you to be. I submit to you that Jacob was God's workmanship, created in Christ Jesus unto good works, which God before ordained that he should walk in them. That Jacob was a natural born, created by God hustler. That was misdirected, and that was being wasted and spent. Until the day that he comes to hear God say, you are a prince. That's who you are. You're a prince. You have prevailed. Do you hear what I'm saying to you? Some of you guys, I'm telling you, you're gifted people. Gifted, and you've got all kinds of abilities that you've proved in all the worst ways. You have pursued vice, and you've gone to extremes and had amazing achievements. But it's all the misdirection of the equipping and the uniqueness of you that God has a plan for you. God has a plan, and he wants to use you. I'm telling you, he's called you to greatness. Called you to something bigger than just earthly survival. Called you to something bigger than just paying the bills and getting through life until you get to some kind of retirement and then die in your sleep. God has called you to greatness. That's what he made you for. He made you men. He wants you to be respectable, and he wants you to be respected. The dream that you had in your heart that you would one day really be respected. God put that there. Every one of you women, the dream you had him in your heart that you would be truly loved. That somebody would love you enough to put you above everything. And then not only did he not love you enough to do that, he loved some substance more than you. Loved that, and that poison, that lifestyle that goes with it more than you. What a message that sends. Don't listen to it. My message tonight is you need to listen to the Lord. Receive from him. Come on out, band. We're going to pray for a second. We're going to pray. We ain't just going to do a closing prayer, closing song, and out of here. No, pray with me right now. Let's take care of some business. Father, I pray that your word would speak to the men and women gathered in this room tonight. They came to church on a Sunday night. And I'm asking you, Lord, that they come to realize it was a setup and there are things you wanted to say to them. I pray, Father, in the name of Christ, your Son, in the name of Yeshua, whom you named, Yahweh is salvation. In his name, of whom you said, this is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. I ask, Lord, in that name, that you would speak to every man and woman, young and old, in this room tonight. Speak to them and tell them who they are, according to you. Pray it, Lord. Now, while you guys continue to pray, let me ask you, do you need God? Do you need God to tell you who you are? Are you realizing right now that you have believed the wrong voices and you have received the wrong identity and you've been living it out? You want to pray about it? Let's do it right now. If you need very much for God to speak to you about who you are and tell you who you are and bless you, I'm asking you to stand up. If the Lord's dealing with your heart, stand up, we'll pray for you. I appreciate you, band, waiting. I appreciate you. I'm not big on turning moments like this into a Hallmark movie with a music score. We will sing, but let's do business first. You guys who are standing, oh, the Lord loves you. You girls, the Lord loves you. You have no idea how much he loves you. You have no idea the good he has for you. My prayer, I'm going to do this right now. I'm going to pray for all of you, that you would hear, that you would lean in and you would listen, you would stop listening to everyone else trying to tell you who you are, and you listen to the one who made you. Everybody else stand up, and would you reach over? You see who's standing already? Come on, put a hand on the shoulder, because they're family. They're family. They need to hear it. You guys. You bless me, brothers and sisters, what you're doing. Some of you just running down off the bleachers to go do that. This is a sweet thing. It's a blessing. I wait till you all get there. It's good that your heart is for your brothers. Let's pray. Father, there are men and women who have stood tonight. They're just like I once was. They're all broken, all confused, and all messed up. And they try to say, no, that's not me. I'm not that. I'm not what they say. But the weight of those messages have hindered them, have been a burden on their heart. I pray for every one of them. Pray for your daughters, your sons. Lord, I pray that you would break through the noise and deliver a message to their heart of your love, that you knew them before the world was made. You knew them before you made the whole world. You had a plan for them before anything was put into motion. You got a plan for them now. I pray, Lord, that your Spirit would speak to their hearts and that your words would leap off the page and that you'd help them to hear you and receive from you what you say. That's what matters. Father, please tell them in their deepest part that you're God and that you love them and you made them and they are not what they thought. And I pray that you give them the good sense to surrender to your good will. In the name of your only begotten Son, we pray it. Amen.
Hey, thanks for listening. We pray that the Word of God will speak to your heart as you meditate on it. If we can help you grow, or if you have any questions, you can visit us at our website at ccbangor.org. Give us a phone call at area code 207-991-9555, or you can shoot us an email at office@ccbangor.org. On behalf of Pastor Ken and all of us here at Calvary Chapel Central Maine, we wish you grace and peace.